Call to order the regular board meeting of December 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. The colors will be presented tonight by the Anchor Bay Junior Air Force ROTC. Please rise with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Carry the colors. Forward, march. Pose, colors. Present, arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms, guide out.
Thank you to the Anchor Bay Junior Air Force ROTC. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Supervisor Echeverri.
Here.
Treasurer LaFata.
Here.
Trustee Anderson.
Here.
Trustee Joseph.
Here.
Trustee Demink.
Here.
Trustee Bosberg.
Here.
Clerk Berry's here.
All members are present. Item 4 is department reports, if there are any. Item 5 is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered routine by the board and will be enacted in one motion. There's no separate discussion of these items. If any item is required by a board member for discussion, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Public comments on the consent agenda are permitted. Tonight's consent agenda includes the approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 20th, 2017, and approval of the payment of bills as submitted by the Finance Department. You also received an additional bill from Deutsche to be included with the payment of bills as submitted by the Finance Department.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Demink, support by Clerk Berry. Discussion. I think we do need to make an amendment to the agenda, and that is to move item 6D, which is to approve the contractual relationship between the Chesterfield Township of Chesterfield and the collective bargaining unit of the Police Officers Labor Council for command to after the closed session, which is item number 10. Would you care to amend your motion?
That'd be 10B.
After item 10.
So it'd be
It would
item
be,
11.
it's going to be an open, it'll be an action item coming out of closed session.
Continued support.
No, you're going to have to amend your motion.
Oh, amend motion, I'm sorry.
Continued support.
Amended motion by Trustee Demink, continued support by Clerk Berry. Please call the roll.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Bosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Echeverri.
Aye.
Yeah, those deep.
The consent agenda is approved. Item 6A is to set a public hearing for December 11th, 2017, to hear comments on the proposed township budget for fiscal year 2018.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing for December 11th, 2017, to hear comments on the proposed township budget for fiscal year 2018.
Motion by Clerk Berry,
Support.
support by Trustee Anderson. Discussion. That'll be our public hearing as required by statute on December 11th. Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Trustee Anderson. Please call the roll.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Bosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Echeverri.
Aye. 7B, set a public hearing for December 18th, 2017 at 7 p.m. regarding community block grant funding for fiscal year 2018. Motion by Trustee
Support.
Demink, support by Trustee Vosberg. Discussion. Similar to last year and every year in the past. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Domingue.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Eckevetti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Motion passes. 6C, approve a request by the Clerk's Department to approve the 2018 Township Meeting Calendar.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2018 Township Meeting Calendar.
Motion by Clerk Barry. Support by Supervisor Eckevetti. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, there's a couple of amendments to this calendar that I'd like to point out. The first one is an addition, and that should be December 31st is left off of this calendar, but we are closed that day, the last day of the year. And also in November, the calendar says that November 11th is a Friday that Veterans Day falls on. That is actually a Sunday, so therefore township offices would be closed the following Monday, November the 12th.
Continued support for the amendments to the calendar. And the 2 months that I think are affected by holidays this year are January and July. Any discussion? Trustee Vosberg.
So we will be open on Friday. The Friday before Veterans Day, we will be open.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Motion by Clerk Barry, support by Supervisor Eckevetti to approve the 2018 Township Meeting Calendar. Would Clerk Barry please call the roll?
Clerk Barry, aye. Supervisor Eckevetti.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Domingue.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Motion passes. 6E, approve a request by the Human Resources Department to approve a retirement and transition agreement for Eric Wormlinger. I'll make a motion to approve as stated.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Eckevetti, support by Trustee Domingue. Any discussion from the board? Or from the public? I want to thank Eric Wormlinger for his service. I know we've got a whole month here left. We had a very successful tree lighting and transition during this last year. And I'm sure we'll have time before our last meeting to expound on that. This transition agreement is a good thing for us and for you. I appreciate all your support. Motion to approve the request by the Human Resources Department to approve the retirement and transition agreement for Eric Wormlinger. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Supervisor Eckevetti.
Aye.
Trustee Domingue.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Motion passes. 6F, adopt Resolution 2017-30 to allow Richard J. Rhine to purchase 1 year, 4 months of service credit through MERS pension plan in accordance with Article 23 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Anderson.
Support.
Support by Trustee Joseph. Discussion. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Domingue.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Eckevetti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Motion passes. 6G, approve a request from the Public Safety Department to purchase and upfit patrol and police safety vehicles. I'll make a motion to approve as stated.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Eckevetti, support by Trustee Domingue. Director Kirsten.
You have a pretty detailed package in front of you. This is a historical purchase. This is for new police vehicles. Those vehicles that we will be replacing, we will offer to other departments within the township. As you can see in the memo that's attached to it, we've begun that process, utilizing, repurposing the police vehicles for other departments in the township, and we'll place the order if this request is approved.
Chief, this is all state bid, so it's all, we don't have to worry about pricing.
Correct.
And I see we're going to try a couple of these new police trucks.
Yes.
Some departments are using.
Yes.
And you've talked to some other departments, and
Yes.
they're happy with them?
Currently in use in Auburn Hills, Roseville, Troy. It's the trend of law enforcement.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any further comments from the board? Comments from the public? Seeing no comments, a motion by Supervisor Akavetti, support by Trustee Demink, to approve the request from the Public Safety Department to purchase and fit up patrol and public safety vehicles. Please call the roll.
Supervisor Akavetti?
Aye.
Trustee Demink?
Aye.
Trustee Anderson?
Aye.
Trustee Joseph?
Aye.
Trustee Bosford?
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata?
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Approve a request from the Public Safety Department to upgrade 6H. Retake. 6H. Approve a request from the Public Safety Department to update the security system at Fire Station Number 3. I'll make a motion to approve as stated.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Akavetti, support by Trustee Bosford.
Fire Station Number 3 at their headquarters on 23 Mile Road. I attached some pictures. When the facility was built, it used a PFOP pass system. That system has gone out of service, end of life. The company that originally installed it is not available to replace it. We currently use the system that I've asked for in the memo at the police department. It's a sole source request, and it's expandable, so we manage it. We program it within the police department and our IT staff. We'd like to extend that same vendor into the fire department at Fire Station Number 3, and then in the future at Fire Station Number 1 and 2. Pretty straightforward request. I attached, as I said, some photos of some failures that they're living with now. This system provides accountability. It's timekeeping. It's traceable, trackable. We know we can put set permissions to it, who comes and goes from what area of the building, when they can come and go, and again, it's the management side of it is. Enhances our abilities to see who comes and goes from the fire station.
Comments from the board. Trustee Demink.
I'm fine whether we use something like this at Sterling and it's all PFOP, certain
Correct.
doors you can get into, sometimes you can't, who's in the building and who's not, so I don't have a problem with it at all. Thank you.
Just sort of related to this, but our security system in the township is pretty outdated, and anybody that's ever come in here after hours to pick up a board packet and accidentally set off the alarm knows, how cumbersome this can be. The key swipe, ID card that operates is just, kind of standard now. What are the, with this particular vendor, is this just a public safety going out and getting these, or is this something we could share? And I don't know who maybe this is an opportunity to look at our whole system, but how did we come by this particular vendor?
This vendor has been in the police department. We installed it in 2008. At that point, that time, we had gone out and solicited other prices from other vendors. We selected this one. We like this because we manage it internally at the police department. We don't use an external person. It is expandable. Originally, when we went to address this issue with our facilities manager, the entire township buildings was originally included in this, along with some other security areas that we were looking at. The price got, it was a pretty large price when we were looking at it township-wide. So we, in light of some other projects that are in the pipeline coming before the board in the future months, we scaled it back just to address the public safety side. This is expandable. It can come into this building. It's feasible to come into this building and other buildings. With the current process that we're underway in the fire stations, looking at fire station number one on 22 Mile Road. This will be back in front of the board when that facility is ready to expand it into that operation.
Perhaps, Mr. Supervisor, we could have, maybe this is something our facilities director could take a look at, because I know Trustee Anderson and I just randomly picked a handful of contracts a year or so ago that have been kind of languishing in the township. There were a bunch at the time, and the security contract was one of them. We had every intention, and then, of course, other things get in the way that are more, urgent, but it is something I think is long overdue. Maybe we could revisit and use this, sort of parlay our work over in the fire department to take a look at our whole building, because the ability to access who's in the building when is critical. And also, we're long overdue for a look at some cameras and different things around the building, from employee safety to resident safety. It's just, we're really kind of behind the eight ball and behind the times with our current security. So I'd like to see, maybe this is an opportunity to take a look at that.
I'll follow up with you real quick on that. This building, there will be a very solid look at. We've all had many discussions on how outdated, lack of, behind on some basic maintenance issues. All you have to do is look around this room and see some issues. But before, the security system and updating those keypads, which are 20, 30-year-old technology, will be part of a bigger office project. What I don't want to get involved with is just updating the security system and not doing the rest of it. It might require some office reconfigurations to set us up for the next 30, 40 years. So that is on the radar screen, and 2018, we should see a lot of construction around the township, and hopefully an updating of many more of our township facilities. So thank you so much.
You have, just as I bring your attention to, in our packet, this comes about at the direction of the Public Safety Director. I noticed in the memorandum that's in our packet, it's Lieutenant McNair, who goes through and kind of highlights and includes pictures of these, really difficult situations. And he talks about he highlights a number of these problems. And we have those here, we definitely have those here. So I know that we got a lot of work to do, but this to me is something that I'd like to see done with some priority.
That in this process, with the facilities coordinator, we took a look at the entire township structures, parks, buildings, and it was a pretty detailed project, along with financial numbers that were attached to it. So we scaled it back because there are, I believe Josh is in the process of reviewing a lot of these areas in the township buildings. So rather than get, it's quite a project undertaking.
Great.
So we scaled it back and just stuck with the fire department at this level. This project is expandable though.
Great.
It has been a pretty massive chore assessing all of our assets, all of the structures that we use and the properties that we use, determining how much repairs are needed to get them back up to useful status, what their useful life is going to be moving forward. We've already set the wheels in motion, and for the removal or the disposal of the old DPW site, which served this township very, very well for a long time on Gratiot. And that's just one example of a facility that is no longer going to be in use. Other facilities may meet the same fate, and other facilities may be expanded or changed. And that process is ongoing. However, this, I think it's a good example of updating technology that is expandable to Brandenburg Park, this park, DPW buildings, all of our other facilities, and it'd be good on this one to see how it goes and It'd be nice to get us up to speed with the time, so I look forward to updating, investing, and building the right stuff, the right facilities for our township moving forward. So I appreciate all the, Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a quick question. What is the expected life of the system?
This is 20-plus years. As I stated, the police department has had it in place since 2008. We manage it, the technology, we kind of incorporated into our servers.
Okay. So is it upgraded at all?
It hasn't been upgraded. There really is no need to. It's, once you put the magnetic locks in the key fob, it's coded, recorded, and stored, and again, the accessibility is managed on our end.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. We'll have another item after this to update us a little further into the digital age and some of our other assets. Any further discussion? Anything from the public? Motion by Supervisor Akavetti, support by Trustee Vosberg, to approve the request from the Public Safety Department to upgrade the security system at Fire Station Number 3. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Motion passes. Director, you can hang tight for one more second for item 6I. Approve a request from the Public Safety Department to upgrade the early weather notification tornado siren system. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve as stated.
Motion by Clerk Berry,
Support?
support by Trustee Joseph.
A quick summary, this is the tornado sirens that go off or activated for test every Saturday. We have 8 of them housed within the township. They're strategically placed to get the most notification on early warning, early weather to the residents. They're commonly referred to as the tornado sirens. They sit on a post throughout the township. They're very loud wails that you hear. Our system has been in place since 2007 was the original purchase. They were at that time it was an analog radio system, an analog system that turned them on or detonated them. With modern technology and the 800 megahertz radio system, everything has been upgraded to a digital platform, and we're simply asking to upgrade each one of these sites to that digital signal reception. And it also gives us a reporting capability. Right now, if the siren does not activate because of the tone, we don't know about it. We actually have to send firemen out or police officers out to listen to make sure that it goes off. This digital report will be reported back to dispatch. They'll know immediately that the site is not working, and we'll get to be able to repair it much faster. This is a public safety issue. This is also compatible with all the municipalities in Macomb County that also have them. So our sirens are attached to other communities, and they can be set off by other communities if foul weather is in the area, or they're also set off if we received or we're under foul weather.
Questions from the board?
We don't have to crank them anymore,
No,
so we can actually just,
we're going to put those back on the fronts of the fire trucks.
excellent, thank you, Chief.
Welcome to the digital age. Any comments from the public? Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Trustee Joseph, to approve the request from the Public Safety Department to upgrade the early weather notification tornado siren system. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Approve the Township Supervisor's recommendation to appoint Holly Kirsten to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term to expire December 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Or,
Motion by Trustee Demink, support by Trustee Joseph, or Trustee Vosberg. Discussion, we do have, Holly is here, if anyone would like to ask any questions.
Welcome.
oh, thank you.
I'm easy.
Your reputation speaks for itself. Your work for our township and at the library has been impeccable, and welcome aboard, Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you, Holly, for wanting to do this. And I also agree this is a great fit because of Holly's, you're a resident of the township, so you have some vested interest in it, an employee of the library. So I just see a lot of synergy as a result of this. So thank you.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Demink, support by Trustee Vosberg, to approve the supervisor's recommendation to appoint Holly Kirsten to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term to expire December 31st, 2020. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Motion approves. Congratulations and thank you for your service. 6K, approve a request from the Senior Center Director Carol Rose to purchase new chairs for the Senior Center. I'll make a motion to approve as stated.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Akavetti, support by Trustee Vosberg. Carol is not here, but she did speak with me beforehand about the need for updated chairs. I think she did a pretty good job in her packet. Any discussion from the board?
Just a question, I don't know who's reviewed this packet, but those chairs are $32 a piece?
$31.99 according to my math.
Yeah. For a folding chair. Okay.
Any further questions for the board?
No questions, Mr. Supervisor, but I have a comment. I had a similar reaction as Trustee Joseph did when I saw the per unit price of the chairs. And when I asked about it, I was informed that apparently these aren't kind of a standard chair. They have to be made with certain materials to withstand certain weights and so forth. So that was just want to share that with you. That's the answer I was given, that it's the material that they're made out of and the requirements that they have to satisfy for ADA and various other requirements.
Director Rose is pretty cognizant and thorough when it comes to details of everything she purchases in that senior center facility, and I think she's a very good steward of the taxpayers' dollars. She was rather adamant that these are the exact type of chairs that that facility requires and the best use of our resources long-term for that, that facility. And she is not here, but I do support her proposal that she put forward. Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. And I also see that this does have, these chairs have a 10-year warranty. Most chairs that we would buy for home use probably have a 2-year useful life, and these are guaranteed for 10 years. So I think that says something also about the quality of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vosberg. Any further comments from the board? Public? Motion by Supervisor Akavetti, support by Trustee Vosberg. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Motion passes. 6L, approve a request to upgrade the township computer services.
Move to approve.
Motion by Trustee Vosberg,
Support?
support by Trustee Demink. Trustee Joseph. And Deputy Treasurer Clark is here. We did have a presentation on this last week.
Yes, it is the exact same presentation. I have brought someone from High Tech. If the board has any questions or wants any further information, he's prepared to ask any or answer any questions and give you a highlight of what we're doing.
Thank you. Bring them forward.
Good evening. I'm Rick from High Tech. I've been your sales manager for your account for almost 20 years. so everybody almost should know me. I went over a couple of the things that are on here. One of the first things that we're doing is we're actually purchasing off the statewide contract. In Michigan, it's known as REMC. It's actually the NSAPO contract. There's only about 7 of us in the state of Michigan that are actually authorized to use this. In Michigan, though, there's only 5 that actually have offices in Michigan. The other ones are Wisconsin, Indiana. The hardware that we're replacing in here right now is currently 6 years old. It fell out of warranty. Some of it was 1 year ago, some of it was 2 years ago. We're starting to have issues with it, which we've actually been lucky over the last 6 years. We've only actually had 1 hard drive fail with all the components that are in there. So we've actually had a really good purchase on that. We're going to go with DL 380 Generation 10s. The Generation 10s just came out 2 months ago. So you're getting the latest technology. We're putting 20 cores in there. You're actually having 2 processors per server. We're doing 3 servers. There's going to be 2 servers here at the main site that are redundant servers. They actually have the workload split between the 2. We have a redundant site that's going to be over at the DPW. We're upgrading the SAN also over at the DPW. The reason we're upgrading that SAN is when we upgraded the current SAN back here about 6 months ago, we didn't have enough money to approve for the other one yet. So now we're going to be processing that. Currently are running 3 of the old SANs, which 2 came from here that we brought over to the DPW that currently only can do about 9 gig about information, and we're actually processing about 10 gig on the actual servers. So we needed to do the second part to upgrade that. We're putting an extreme switch in here. We currently have several extreme switches that we did about a year and a half ago, upgraded all those projects. This one will actually give us redundant ports. It'll give us 48 more 1 gigabit PoE ports. It'll also give us 4 10 gigabit ports. We're going to need 2 of those for when we add the new products in, plus 2 to be able to transfer off the old servers onto the new servers. Once the new servers get put in, we'll actually have 2 spare. We can also use that as a fault a replacement server if something actually goes down. Right now, if one of the network switches go down, we don't have a hot swap spare right now. This one will be able to be used for that. We can unplug 2 of the 10 gig ports and move that into one of the other spots anywhere in the township. We're also upgrading the Microsoft servers. We're going from 2028 and 2012 servers to 2016 servers. We changed it for what we did from last time to this time is we used to sell you just individual server licenses, and when we virtualize it, we can split it twice. On the new ones, we're actually selling you the data center product that will actually give us unlimited servers that we can put on. So we're only going to be limited by how many cores that we have available and how much RAM that we have. The reason we're doing this is the cost was really close to the same, but with the expandability option, we chose to go this way.
Rick, if I could on that, will this solve what I was kind of shocked here the last year, especially the first couple days I walked in the door, that our Microsoft suites are rather old. And,
so some of the things that we've already done this year while we were waiting to get this presented in front of the board is we had 1 gigabit circuits when we sold all this stuff 6 years ago. All the new stuff has 10 gigabit circuits. So we're going from 1 gig to 10 gig, so 10 times faster. Not only are we going 10 times faster, is we have 2 ports in every machine that we're putting in. So each server has 2 10 gig ports. The SAN has 2 10 gigabit ports. The storage box that I'll talk about has 2 10 gig ports. The switches that are in there
so
all have
each
10
of our
gigabits.
individual desktops will no longer be running on
like 1 gigabit speed right now.
Will they be running on the 2010 Microsoft Suite and in prior, or will we be updated? This will allow us to upgrade?
Well, I'm going to get to some of that part. So
Please do.
The only thing that it's going to change on the desktops is when we actually talk about the Exchange server. So I can go actually into the Exchange server. We're also upgrading that to 2016. You're currently running 2010. We're having issues with it being able to not upgrade and take some of the patches and fixes. This will also get you current with everybody else if you're having compatibility issues that you're running 2010 Outlook. So that's on their desktop. So on your desktop, you may have Outlook 2010 because that's the Exchange server that we're using. We're going to go right to 2016. So you're going to have the latest of everything. One of the other things we're doing with these servers in the SAN is with the Laserfish server. When the Laserfish server was purchased about 2 years ago, we weren't able to put it on our current SAN and server because we didn't have enough storage space to be able to put it on there, and we didn't have enough server processing power to put it on there at the time. These new servers are going to fix this. We have room for the Laserfish server to be on there, which directly from Laserfish, they're recommending to us and everybody right on their website that you actually split the database and the application. Right now, it's all in one box. So everything's running on one box, even though the manufacturer recommends for the split. So with the new servers, we're going to be able to split the Laserfish. We're also going to be able to load the DPW's GIS software that they purchased about a month or two ago and load that over at the DPW to be able to use theirs. So these are just some of the things, along with the BSNA. BSNA wants us to start splitting some things. It's changed from 6 years ago. And the problem with that is, like I said, we're trying to keep up. We're out of warranty. This will put everybody back in compliance that you're going to have warranty. This will allow you that when our guy is here actually fixing some of the stuff under contract, when it is a warranty issue, he doesn't bill you against the township time. So even if he's here and he does it, you get credit for any time that he's doing under warranty work. So now all that stuff will be back under warranty. So it should free up a little bit more time. The reason we're staying with HPE is the world manufacturer, the #1 world manufacturer of industrial standard servers. Everybody uses them. We've had them here. We don't seem to have any problems. We use them in all our other government agencies. We use them in all our schools that we sell them. We, as High Tech ourselves, use them. Everybody has them. Like I said, they're the #1.
Anything further?
Yeah, I had so much on here, but we started jumping all around. My last thing is we're looking forward to, hopefully if it gets approved tonight, we'll be able to order them this week. When we get them in, it usually takes a week or two for us to get all the equipment in, because it just depends on how the manufacturers are going to be shipping everything. Usually takes about a week in our office to get them in, so we're looking for around right after Christmas, because we're going to be closed a little bit. Because we're able to add that new switch in there and move some of the other equipment in, we shouldn't have the township go down at all. If it does go down, it's going to be we'll be able to schedule it and it'll be minimal. So we'll be able to move everything over and migrate everything onto the new servers. The storage box that we currently have, we're backing up over to the DPW, like I said, has limited space. We also have a workstation here that's an admin workstation that has it backed up, that right now has a capacity of doing 10 gig. So I have enough space right now. Your current SAN is, the way we have it configured, is at 20 gig. It's expandable, but the way the current configuration right now is 20 gig. So when we've got the DPW one for the disaster recovery, they will also have matching servers, so it'll be 20 gig on each side. Like I said, they're both expandable. The storage box that we're putting in is 96 terabytes raw space that we can do. We're only populating it with 6 of the 12 drives right now to give you 48 terabytes. Township-wide, that we're backing up right now from the main site is only 10 gigabits. So you can see it's fully expandable. That will play into other projects that you've been looking at for cameras and other things down the road. And drives are about $400 or $500 to add a drive. So very inexpensive.
Thank you. Will this help with seems to be a weekly problem for me in my emails and Outlook getting full?
Well, like I said, we've been having issues right now that we can't do some of the patches and updates that are required to be put on there. So yes, this will definitely
It seems
help.
like 6 years in the IT and technology world is, we are way behind.
Most
like
people
dog
will
years.
keep their server anywhere from 3 to 7 years. You're at 6. We recommend that these be replaced every 5 years. So this month, if we wait till the end of the month, it would be right at the 6-year mark. So we went a year over what we wanted to replace these with. And like I said, we haven't had any outages or downtimes. The only thing that we replaced about 6 months ago was because we had to do it right then because we were out of storage. But like right now at the DPW, we can't back everything. Once we back everything up there and it exceeds that space, it starts writing over stuff. So even though I have it here and I have it on the admin machine, I can't run my DR site fully because I'm using our 3 old sands that we're trying to decommission right now, just to get by.
Questions from the board?
I'll wait till the end. Nobody has it.
Okay, well, trustee Newman.
Good, just talking Greek, and I gotta give up my typewriter, so.
I know I for one, am ecstatic because I've been very shocked with the lack of the efficiency being lost with our technology. When my personal Microsoft suite and my personal stuff is not as quick, as much memory, it's a problem. And I think it's well overdue. And we've pushed the life of not only this, but a lot of our IT by the lack of investment, I think, in not only the last couple of years, but looks like well beyond that you've seen in analog sirens and old outdated security systems, and how that resonates to the residents is lack of efficiency. And I think it's long overdue. Oh, Treasurer LaFauda.
Well, because of best practices for the BSNA software that supports our assessing department, the posting of our taxes, the tax billing, the water bills, and the interface for the finance department, this is something that we should be looking to do.
Yeah, if I can add one more thing. There was also with the current servers, when we did this 6 years ago, we did not do a mirrored system over there. We're not doing a mirrored system now, but because of the technology has changed so much, right now we fail over all the servers over there, but we actually only turn on 4 or 6 that actually come on out of the 14 servers. When we go do the failover now, we'll be able to actually turn, if not all of them on, some of them at limited capacity, so we can still actually get in and actually do day-to-day work. So that's some of the other changes that are going to actually
Rick, how long have you been the township's IT vendor?
Almost 20 years, and I've been at High Tech 22 in January.
And I know we've had a lot going on, but you've been in my office several times.
Yes.
Wouldn't mind to see a whole lot more in the coming year. I believe your contract is up at the end of this year.
My time's free anytime that you want.
And
You're only paying for our technician when you got to talk to him, but my time's free anytime.
Well, you have from what you're seeing with all maybe a different mentality around here, in that I'm very interested in the best value, long term. What should we be doing? It's clear that we need a lot of work in a lot of areas, and IT, I think, is one of them. So after this project is done, if it's approved, where does that leave us for the next step? Where does it leave us for the next expansions, whether it's cameras at Brandenburg, better security at Brandenburg, Pollard Park, the youth center, integrating all of our facilities, which results in more efficiencies and more value for our communities. And we are not taking advantage of technology to the level that we should. And I'll be looking, at least from now until we look at a request for a qualification-based selection process, which you will be a part of next year, as to just your assessment of where we stand.
Absolutely.
I think this is long overdue. Clerk Berry.
Thank you. I had just a couple of questions. So the server upgrade, as you know, much of what I do is dependent upon IT, almost everything actually. We have a lot of new technological advancements that we're making. We have a new agenda management software. There's a lot of software. We're very software reliant. And as a result, we need the hardware infrastructure to be able to support that. So my question is that with this server upgrade, I just want to make sure that I understand what benefits we're going to realize. Faster service, right? We should it should make the system faster?
Yep.
Faster response time?
We have
Processing.
shielded virtual machines, software-defined networking, core functional of Windows Server, unlimited Hyper-V connections, unlimited Windows Server connections, hosted guard service, nano server. The HP actually has software that's built into there that's actually encrypted right onto the silicon and they're the only one. That if someone tries to hack in there and try to rewrite everything, it automatically detects that and will either reboot to the previous edition before it made the detection, or back to the factory settings so that it won't allow it to go in there. So there's just tons of information. This is the latest and greatest that HP has. If we would have did this 3 months ago, you would have got Gen 9s.
So it'll be a lot faster. We'll
Yes.
see a lot of speed enhancement.
Speed, power savings, memory utilization.
Capacity?
Yeah, the capacity is actually on the SANs where we're doing the storage.
Right,
There
so
is- there is more capacity on the servers for us to be able to add more additional servers on there and for them to run faster.
Because I'm concerned primarily with speed and capacity, like most,
Yes.
I think, IT users. Of course, all of the other things are icing on the cake, but for me, speed and capacity is going to be critical. So I just wanted to make sure that we were going to realize significant benefits in those two areas in particular.
We currently have 64 gigs per RAM per server. So on your 3 servers, they each have 64. The new servers will have 288.
Okay, so based on your analysis, how long, based on our current use and our current software and so forth, how long do you expect all of this will last us before we need to invest?
We're anticipating this to last another 5 years. That's
5
why we have
years.
a 5-year warranty. Now, that doesn't mean like you did with the last ones that you can't stretch it out a little bit further. Industrial standard to replace any servers is anywhere from 4 to 7 years. We do have some companies that replace them every 3 years, is because technology is going so fast now. They want to advance and they want the latest and greatest. This technology is specifically designed for a virtual environment, which is what you're using here. All your servers are virtualized. And to also do a hybrid environment if we ever want to go to start looking at putting things into the cloud. We
So,
already have the capacity.
so we're looking at this solution lasting us a minimum of 3 years, but should last us 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. And then a couple other questions just in terms of the hardware itself, do you purchase that directly from the manufacturers, or do you purchase that through some sort of a reseller, or how is it where do we purchase the hardware from?
You're purchasing it from us. We're going to purchase it through our regular vendors. But our vendors, when we put in there, we reference the state contract pricing with any additional pricing that we have. So like for us, we're a gold authorized with HP, which gives us additional benefits.
And then if there's additional savings to be realized by purchasing otherwise, and the reason, I just did a quick cost comparison for my own self. I mean, anytime you buy anything, you compare pricing, whether it's a car, refrigerator, whatever. So I took a look at the first 3 line items on this quote and just did a quick search on that. It seems that some of these items, or all 3 of them, may be available retail at a lower price than you quoted, and that's, my experience has been with state pricing, whether it's election equipment, whether it's, a number of things, copiers. I've sometimes found that the state pricing, as it was explained to me, and I spoke with someone that I know very well that's in procurement at the state, that actually sets all of that up, and you probably have dealt with some of those folks too. The state pricing is just the pricing that they have established for that particular item. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the lowest price, that just means that if you were to participate in the state pricing plan, that's the price that you pay. So if some of these, is there a chance, I guess my question is there a chance that we could actually pay less for some of these items if they're available from an alternate vendor? And would you be able to give us that price? You know, would we be able to realize that as well?
There's always a chance, but the way HP explained it to me right now, that we should have the lowest price. When you look up an HP DL380, if you are not using my exact configuration with my exact part number, you'll have different configurations. It's only happened to me once before that there was a promo on something, and like I've explained it, the pricing changes from month to month. When I go to redo it again, I'll be using December's pricing. When I used the November pricing from October to November, there was a $4,000 saving. I instantly passed it on.
So we could realize an additional
Yes.
savings here, and you would be willing to at least take a look at some of the other vendors? Because obviously you have some vendors, maybe if there's some additional vendors, you
Right, and the
look at it
promos
as
change
well.
from month to month, so like I said, depending on when you look at it, if you looked at something in November and it didn't carry over to December, it's gone.
And the 3 to 5 years that we can be sure that we're, and the reason why I'm just a little bit confused is over the last 36 months, we've put about $500,000 investment into our IT. And, you know, I'm just, want to make sure this is the kind of the last of it for 3 years on these items. Because I know we've been purchasing servers and we've kind of been patching it together, it seems, over the last few years.
The only things that we've put into the servers in the last 6 years is the SAN. We replaced a hard drive that failed about 6 months or a year
Yeah,
ago.
that was $34,000.
There was we added 2 network cards and we added some more memory. That's it in 6 years.
Okay, so then is there something that you would be willing to put in our agreement that says that this is going to last at least 3 years for us?
I can tell you that there's a warranty for it for 5 years, and that it's definitely covered under warranty through us and HP. So not only, the warranty is coming directly from HP. We're HP authorized, so you can have HP repair it, you can have us repair it, or you can have anybody else that's HP authorized. So we're gonna stand behind it for 5 years.
Yeah, and I understand that there's a warranty on the product itself. I just didn't know, I was just asking if you would be willing to put into the agreement that we would be able to get at least 3 years out of this, so.
Absolutely, under today's current configuration. Once you
Great.
add or modify and change it, then you've changed from what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's what's happened in the past, is we've always tried to add more things to it. So under your current thing, if we don't add any more software to it, yes.
Any further discussion from the board?
Yeah, just
Trustee
a couple
Joseph.
quick questions. I appreciate 2 things. One, the presentation that was made last time, and letting us know the problem and what the solution was. The other thing I appreciate is that the adherence to the purchasing policy, which requires us to go out for bid on issues over $20,000. In this particular case, the item that would be going out for bid, if you will, would be the labor associated with a system like this. It represents less than 6% of the overall cost or thereabouts. And you do all this for roughly $11,000. So that's a lot of work. We have, as I found out when I made the comment about the folding chairs, you know, I go on my phone real quick and I start Googling, and I realize that the folding chair that Ms. Rose is purchasing would accommodate me. I could sit in that chair. It will accommodate me for 10 years. And if I were to walk into Staples, the price of that chair is closer to $75. So I open my mouth too quickly. And as you go into this configuration and you start picking apart, it's possible to cherry pick some of the items in the configuration. But those prices, as I understand it, are dependent on the package. So you start changing the configuration, you put a switch in here, server, you no longer are marrying parts that are going to be, working well with one another, and you no longer have an operating system that's gonna function. If I understood your explanation, that this pricing is laid out, and all of the correspondence between Ms. Clark and you and the vendors reference this as a Gold Star buyer, that you have a relationship with HP that affords you Gold Star access independent of where you go. That part is universally priced at your buying power.
Correct.
If you change that, you change another part of the system, and then the overall price changes. So you might get a few dollars here, but you're going to spend a few dollars here more because now you got to use this part instead of that part.
Correct.
The other thing that you said that was interesting to me, and I'm a little confused, is we spent a lot of money on the microfiche, and right now that was indicated to us at the presentation time as a standalone operation. Our server at the time would not accommodate the needs of the clerk's department for the microfiche needs. As you explained it, we are not operating currently under best practices. We have our application and our database on one machine, so if that crashes, we got trouble?
Yes,
There's no
correct.
redundancy
So
there at
So it's
all?
not running off the 6-year-old servers, it's running off the 2-3-year-old server that was bought separately.
Age aside, the key there is redundancy, right? So you never have everything in one spot. That machine goes down, that server goes down. We got big problems. We have the database and the application housed in one place.
Correct.
That is correct.
That's awful risky.
So when we do the new ones, we will actually have it
We're gonna slide.
on here,
Yeah.
on the current service here, and at the DPW. And if we still want to utilize the current server that's running, we can have that running still too. So I can have it in 3 places.
Well,
I mean, one of the things that we did 6 years ago was when we put all this stuff in, your data's backed up in multiple places. We had 2 SANs, we replaced it with a current SAN with 2 controllers in it. But they used to have 2 spots here that it was backed up to. A spot at the DPW, another external box, and a workstation. So the data was actually in 5 spots.
spent a lot of time and money on document retention here. I know the clerk was very active in that. To hear that we're vulnerable and we're not following best practices with that is a little bit of a bummer. I'm glad that we're correcting it. I want to thank Treasurer LaFata and the Deputy Treasurer for putting this together in such a very thorough way and in a very transparent way. It's a very nice presentation at both board meetings. Thank you.
Any further discussion from the board? Discussion from the public? Motion by trustee Vosberg, support by trustee Joseph to approve a request to upgrade the Township computer services as submitted. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, no.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen, for Deputy Treasurer Ellen Clark does so much work on our information and our IT systems, and thank you so much. 6M, consider the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone parcel number 09-426-024-49685 Gratiot from C3 General Commercial to M1 Light Manufacturing. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone parcel number 09-19-426-024, located at 49685 Gratiot, from C3 General Commercial to M1 Light Manufacturing.
Motion by trustee Joseph, support by supervisor Akavetti. Director Palin.
Yeah, I can answer any questions if there are any. This is the old JCL trailer. The landscaping contractor's looking to move in there, which requires the industrial zone, so that's why he's here.
What about like outside storage and stuff like that for stone and all that? Is that all gotta be changed or?
Yeah, he's gonna be doing that. He'll come back for special land use approval at the planning commission. I know
So he's not doing nothing like that now?
I know he's coming in for site plan approval because he wants to do some paving. He hasn't really indicated whether he's going to do the full outdoor storage because he has a lot of building space there to store stuff inside, so it's just a matter of the scope of the operation.
Okay, thanks, John.
I do believe that this unanimously passed by the Planning Commission. And
David, you were okay with this on planning?
Yeah, it was it was quite a nice presentation that was made by the petitioner, and there was a lengthy list of requirements as outlined by the planner. When this came before, petitioner had zero problems with every accommodation that needs to be made, and it's a nice use for the property, and it fits with the master plan. So I think there was a pretty thorough Q&A during the public hearing, and it was handled very well. And I thought overall the commission was pretty enthusiastic about it, and it was a good use for this property. So it was unanimously supported.
Comments from the public. Motion by trustee Joseph, support by Supervisor Gavetti to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone parcel number 0919-426-024-49685 Gratiot from C3 General Commercial to M1 Light Manufacturing. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosper.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. No addendum. Item 8, public comment. Please state your name and address, and you have a 5-minute time limit.
All right, I don't think I need this, but my name is Robert Finazzo. Most of you know me. I'm a retired sergeant from Chesterfield Township Police Department, township resident for over 25 years. I'm not here on behalf of any particular union employee or anything else. I just feel obligated because I felt I started some things here in the township and want to see them continue. I'm here today to talk about employees being benefits cut, and I gotta look at this. I know the members of the board here are cutting township employees benefits, health care, which I think is going to make an undesirable place for people to work and live. I know you feel it's your job to keep down the cost of running the township, but at what cost? You are now cutting all the benefits, health care, and soon will be coming after retirement benefits and health care from a meeting probably last week in Lansing. I know the trend in Michigan government is to cut employees' benefits. Township supervisor now has hired a person from Macomb County, which cut a lot of Macomb County benefits. And now Chesterfield Township is Macomb County's latest beneficiary of that. I think we're here to, some people are here to break unions and take part of our workers out of the middle class system. When I first started here in Chesterfield Township, I started at $6 an hour, somewhere in there. Wasn't for the money, but the benefits sure made some of the shortfalls from pay. If we haven't learned anything from history from the township, is that most of us employees started at part-time, and we found that we couldn't keep employees. We were the revolving door of Macomb County. Now, in the late 80s, early 90s, we started hiring full-time employees, started getting a decent benefit package, and we kept good employees. The employees now they hired start to move into the township, and Trustee Vosberg made a great assessment. We hired, or we put someone on the board. She said she's a township resident, library, and she's vested in the community. I think the board needs to invest in their employees, which are vested in the community. Most of your employees now live in the township and work for the township, and they're also taxpayers in the township. By your decisions of cutting benefits, health care, this cost is for the taxpayers. As taxpayers, we don't see these. I don't get anything back in my taxes. We can say we cut all the taxes, all the benefits, all that, but we don't see anything as taxpayers. We're very fortunate in this community. We still have a lot of room for growth. We're bringing in big box business, small businesses, housing, condos, apartments, senior citizen centers. They're all moving into the township, and we're lacking interest into our employees. If you're anxious to save taxpayers' money, you have a funny way of showing it. Let me tell you about it. Number one, we hired an HR director at $130,000 plus a year with benefits. Number two, operation facility management, $90,000 a year plus benefits. Number three, we hired an HR assistant director, not sure what the benefits are there. We hired an HR clerical. We hired a clerk clerical, both circumvented by the union, and were hired at a much higher rate, if not the highest rate, which was not a benefit to the taxpayers. When I say some of these positions are definitely needed for the growth of the community, but at what cost? Let me tell you, the township employees cost. We are now putting some of our township employees living back with their parents in the basement. I know this is the holiday season, and thanks to President Trump, I can say Christmas again. If it's okay to the board, I brought a little gift for all of you, and I'll tell you a little bit about the gift, if that's possible, approach the board. Nothing harmful, I wouldn't do that, but it's just a gift, and I'll explain what the gift is about. And I didn't get Mr. Seaver anything, because he was a bad attorney this year, so he didn't get anything.
You gotta wrap up, you got about 30 seconds, you to 7 here. About 10 more seconds. Wrap up quick.
Wrap up real quick.
Wrap up
20
quick,
seconds.
Mr. Fasano.
I think we're not, as you can see, it's a mirror. I was growing up as, if you look in the mirror, and you say you did a good job, you can go to sleep at night and know you did a good job. Are you doing the right thing? So now I want you to take that mirror home, look in the mirror and say, am I doing a good job? Am I doing the right thing?
15 seconds.
Thank you.
I'll go take it.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to, hopefully this is ending on a lighter note, but my name is Michael Wharton. I am a staff sergeant in the 127th Civil Engineering Squadron at Selfridge, and I would like to know that, to take note here that everyone in my squadron has returned home last month from a 6-month deployment to the United Arab Emirates, where we conducted operations in helping with aircraft operations in the Middle East, and we constructed and maintained the base that was located there, which has just recently been declassified by the U.S. Department of Defense. Beforehand, we couldn't tell everyone that we could go there. If everyone would just like to know that, and all of us are back home safe and sound.
Any further comments from the public? Let's bring it up to the board. Trustee Domingue.
Okay. Hey, David, I think I'm gonna beat you tonight.
Okay,
I
good.
got public service announcement, that's about it.
Excellent.
It's all from my new boss, Amanda, in back at Parks and Rec, so here we go. Parks and Rec Department would like to extend a huge thanks to all the individuals and groups who assisted us in the welcoming Santa to Chesterfield's tree lighting last Friday night. Township Board, Chesterfield Historical, the Library, Parks and Rec Commission, Department of Public Works, Department of Public Safety, the Anchor Bay Schools ROTC, the Anchor Bay Flute Choir, Lance Cruz Schools Community Service, Brownie Troops 76518, and Junior Troops 75826. A special thanks to Texas Roadhouse of Chesterfield, Emerson's by the Bay, and Bigby Coffee of New Baltimore for generously providing coffee, chili rolls, and frozen yogurt to our guests. The grandest thank you goes to Genesis Credit Union for your financial support, community service, and the balloon artists who entertained all night long. Next thing, head over to Texas Roadhouse on Monday, December 11th from 4 to 7 p.m. for a slam dunk fundraiser to benefit the Youth Basketball League. Enjoy a legendary meal in Texas Roadhouse of Chesterfield. Will donate 10% of your tab to the Parks and Rec programs. Don't have time to stop in for a meal, but get a gift card. 10% of your gift card purchase on this day will all support local Parks and Rec. Fundraiser flyers can be obtained at the municipal offices and printed from the Parks and Rec Facebook page. Note, the flyer must be presented in hard copy form or electronically on your phone to count toward the fundraiser. Next item, the Parks and Rec Department has a full schedule of activities to jumpstart your new year. New classes, special events, and activities for the months of January, February, and March are being announced. Details for these classes will be revealed in mid-December. Follow us on Facebook and at the Township website. The lineup will include floor hockey, indoor tennis, volleyball, dodgeball, sports sample, family nights, Valentine's Day craft, daddy-daughter gymnastics, taekwondo, music, and much more. Watch for our latest postings. Programs will be advertised, and registration will be open December 15th. And are you passionate about creating healthy, active lifestyles? Have a love for your community? Do you have enthusiasm, radiate, and have a drive that won't quit? Then you are a perfect fit to be a member of the Chesterfield Township Parks and Recs Commission. This group volunteers their time generating ideas, promoting programs, and working with the department to ensure recreation programming in Chesterfield is the best it can be. Advisory Board meets every other month during the 2018 calendar year at 6:30 p.m. If you'd like to join our team, submit a letter of interest to Supervisor Accavetti and a copy to the Parks and Recs Department to have on file when a position becomes available on this board. That's it. Is that everything? Did I get it all? Okay. That's it for me.
Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I wanted to also thank everybody that was involved in the tree lighting ceremony Friday night. It was a great time. The weather was wonderful, and there were so many people we couldn't even all do everything that was available because there were just so many people waiting in line. And I won't say any more about it. Thank you.
Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. Mr. Wormelinger, Godspeed and good health as you move on in your journey in life. And it's great to see the Anchor Bay High School and Junior ROTC cadets posting the colors for our meetings. Thank you, sir.
Trustee Joseph.
Thank you. Staff Sergeant, welcome home. Thank you for your service. And it's very, very kind of you to come in and just give us an update that your whole unit made it back safe and sound in time for the holidays. So thank you again for your service and for sharing your message of return. I try always to address those that come to the board. I'm having a hard time with Mr. Finazzo's presentation. It starts out with, I don't represent the unions, but you're breaking unions, and there's union busting, and I don't know where there's any evidence of that whatsoever. Title to your opinion, the issues that were raised with the new hires, the HR director that was brought in was a decision made by the board, and it was as far away from efficiency experts that come in to slash or be a hatchet man as you can get. In fact, I know Mr. Herpich, and one of the things that I believe he communicated to the supervisor and this board is that he is a craftsman as it relates to human resources, and he believes fundamentally that it is the employees that are the backbone of any organization. And so his whole operation is predicated on being a resource for our most valuable asset, the employee. He doesn't set the compensation rates. He doesn't dictate up, down, this benefit slash, that benefit slash. That's a process that I know you know full well, having served in union capacity in your employment with the township. And it would be wildly inappropriate for the board to engage in contract negotiations publicly. So I have to take a pass on a lot of what you said, but I think some of the other hires that you talked about, when you see the work that Josh has done in the facilities and operations review, have been top-notch. And just his review of a handful of contracts involving something as simple as HVAC. So township pays tens of thousands of dollars to have the HVAC system properly cleaned, and that contract with that company was long expired before Josh ever arrived on the scene, yet he was on the roof disassembling units and seeing if we got what we paid for, found out we didn't, and then took the vendor to task who came back out. I was very adamant that Josh joining our team would have to include provisions where he pays for his salary in terms of value to the township, and I think he's paid it back in spades. He's been very, very good asset to the township and an acclamation for us, which has really been invaluable. So the position of the HR clerical and the HR support was taken from the existing structure that we had, which was woefully inadequate, and it was updated in the hopes of not only bringing our contracts in line with something that can be facilitated by the residents who are the customers, but also that is smart. We have a lot of areas where we're lacking, like minority hiring and diversity training and some of the other things that we're really vulnerable to. And I think Mr. Herpich brings a wealth of experience. He was a great asset to the township, continues to be. And again, negotiating contracts publicly would be unfair, and so that's all I'm going to say on that. The comment regarding the funding of pensions and so forth, there has been some movement, as everyone is aware, in Lansing, and there's a lot of very spirited beliefs on funding of OPEB. And I know this, and for certain, there are members on this board who believe that the pensions that were entered into contractually have to be maintained, and there was a unanimous vote to fund OPEB at the budgeted levels in 2017 and 2018. That was taken up at a special meeting last week. The commitment is there, and whether or not legacy costs can be maintained at the current rate is debatable, but we do know that the ones that we are under contract with must be fulfilled, and they will be fulfilled. And we've done a very good job there. So all the way around, I think, contracts mean something to the people on this board, and they're fulfilled. As was mentioned earlier, the tree lighting was an outstanding event. The warm weather helped, and also the very smooth operation that was run by our Parks and Rec department. Everywhere you went, you saw smiles. The stage was loaded with scouts singing Christmas carols until their voices gave out. And then we had Santa that came up, and it was really a great night for the township. So clearly an example of what residents get back from our employees and from their tax dollars. It was a very nice event. The last thing I wanted to mention was an issue that's come up a couple of times since they went up, and that is the Chesterfield Township welcomes IKEA. As I said at earlier board meetings, that was something that I discussed briefly with a handful of other board members, and it was Trustee Anderson, Treasurer LaFata, and I that put our own time and energy into erecting those signs. And the intent behind them was to simply say, in response to the Free Press and Crane's business articles about IKEA potentially looking at a site here in Macomb County, was to say, first and foremost, Chesterfield would love to have you, and we got a great spot for you. So we put the signs up, and couple 400,000 Facebook hits later, we were getting calls from all over. The intent was never to mislead anyone. These are not, the signs are not the location of the new IKEA. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to secure an IKEA, and leaving them up in perpetuity would be wrong. So they've been up now for almost a month. They are going to come down, and it was actually Santa, Mr. Accavetti, who told me that the IKEA folks heard us loud and clear, and well aware that the residents of Chesterfield Township are in love with the idea of an IKEA. And so now we have rolled out the welcome mat, as have the city of Sterling Heights is now writing letters and trying to grab our IKEA, as I'm sure other municipalities are doing the same. We'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll wait for those who are the stakeholders in that process, and hopefully we have an IKEA soon. But the signs will come down. It's no indication that there's no longer an IKEA, because the signs never reflected that there was an IKEA. The welcome has been sent, and it's been heard, and we will wait, and hopefully 2018 we have some very good news. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Treasurer LaFata.
I'd like to congratulate Eric on his retirement. I'd like to thank Rick from High Tech for coming out and making the presentation on the IT equipment for us. To answer the question, I sleep like a baby every night. I take all parties into consideration when I make decisions. I never have any intentions of slashing employees, but I do believe in operating efficiently and spending tax dollars wisely. Thank you.
Clerk Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. A couple of things. The new website is prepared for launch. It will be ready on the 8th of December for a launch. It is then up to our IT folks to make that happen, but Civic Plus will have their product delivered to us by December the 8th. I know people have been waiting to see that happen, and then after that, it's in our hands. Furthermore, if anyone is interested in serving on the Art and Music Festival Committee, that committee will start meeting in January. We'd love to have you. I know that several residents, after last year's event, were very excited to participate in future art and music festivals. I think it's set up to be a great event, and even better than last year, and that's kind of the thought process. When a group of us met here at the township recently, was that we just kind of want to keep building on the momentum that we have, and making it a bigger and better event for our residents every year. Outside of that, Mr. Supervisor, I think I'm almost done with my comments. One last thing. I've never been afraid to be a lone no vote on anything. So I appreciate the mirror, because I look in it every day and I have no problem with any one of my votes that I cast. I'm not going to go through why I voted the way I did tonight. Just suffice it to say that if anyone has any questions about it, I'd be more than happy to meet with you and answer them. And looking forward to having a great holiday season coming up here, and settling a lot of contracts here with our great employees. Thanks.
Staff Sergeant, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for showing up and sharing your story, and taking an interest and sharing what you do with us. Thank you. Mr. Finazzo, I appreciate your prior service to our community and your continued involvement. See you around the township quite a bit at a lot of events, supporting the team and the township. However, your comments tonight, very unfortunate and clearly lacking in some facts. For 1 year, I've been sitting in this office, haven't had a phone call from you. Come on over and see what we're doing. It's a new day. We're looking at everything that has been done, from hard assets to processes to organizational structure. And I just think your comments tonight were beneath you, and they were very unfortunate. Item number 10 is closed session. Discussion regarding strategy and negotiation of collective bargaining agreements pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to enter into closed session pursuant
Motion
to
by
Section
Clerk-
8C of the Open Meetings Act.
Motion by Clerk Berry. Support by Trustee Anderson. Please call the roll.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson. Aye. Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye. We are in closed session at 8:24 p.m. Do I have a motion to re-enter open session?
Motion to go back into open session.
Motion by Trustee Demink to re-enter open session. Support.
Support.
Support by Clerk Berry. Please call the roll.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye. We are in open session at 8:59 p.m. There's one action item from closed session, and that's to approve a contractual agreement between the Charter Township of Chesterfield and the collective bargaining unit of the Police Officers Labor Council for command officers. I'll make a motion to approve as stated.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Akavetti, support by Clerk Berry. Please call the roll.
Supervisor Akavetti.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer LaFata.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Trustee
Support.
Demink, support by Trustee Anderson to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned.